isn't Cody. That was somebody. That was Logan Paul.
That was not. I mean, I was going to put up on Twitter today a picture of Logan Paul being like, Cody sure looks different since he rejoined WWE, but I thought not a lot of people would get the joke.
Because nobody reacted to any of the Cody teases on the show?
There's that as well, yeah.
I've seen the popular meme format. No, we've got a perfectly good Cody at home.
Very good.
Also, I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luco and DAD. Welcome to the Raw Review podcast. Only the second ever, well, I did live reactions, but second ever live Raw Review podcast I've done in the brand new studio.
You did yourself a disservice introducing yourself. The interim Jam That Champion, my best friend, Ollie Davis.
Yes. Yeah, I did it. I brought it home. I brought home the jam.
You did, yeah.
The real jam.
The real jam.
I'm saying it's the real world championship.
I mean, it's the original belt. Maybe it is the real championship.
I think it might be. Please show some love to the studio by giving this a subscribe. The WrestleTalk Podcast channel. Enable notifications to always on and get your chats into WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out everyone over $5 or more by the end of the show. And a big thank you to our sponsors, us.
Yes, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. We've got Wrestle League, Ollie and I's review of No Way Out 2009, Fan Quizzlemania last week, which you can watch on repeat, and the Team Danuke mailbag show with me and Denise, which Andy loved because Denise talked about feet for a little bit. And this week, it's WrestleTalk After Dark, which is where we sit around, chat the breeze, and drive a few drinks. We'll have a clip from that towards the end of the show.
Yeah, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. The link's in the video description below.
I like Satwell here.
Check it out.
Patreon 52. Patreon 52. Because we're always sponsored by Beer 52.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We've got great sponsors, what can I say?
We sure have.
But we don't mislead you. When you sign up to a WrestleTalk sponsor or a product, you're going to get that offer.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine those poor folk who, I mean, the very, very tiny amount of people who bought Elimination Chamber explicitly to watch Bobby Lashley wrestle. Nah, he was always injured. He was never going to be in the match. Bit of a cheat carny move. And now, I think we're going to get a few weeks of really annoying Cody teases from Cody's friends in WWE.
Did you see WWE's social media team?
Which social media team?
So WWE's main Twitter feed. So it should always be noted as well that WWE's social media team are a team unto themselves. They are not part of creative. It's not Vince McMahon tweeting. In fact, you know that infamous Vince McMahon tweet where he was playing Pokemon Go in a gym? I know who wrote that tweet.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Starstruck.
Yeah. No. So he's actually been on the show before. DS Shin from Ring the Bell wrote that tweet for Vince McMahon.
It wasn't Vince.
No.
Playing Pokemon Go.
It was not.
In his gym.
I hate to break kayfabe. DS himself revealed that a few weeks back. But
the last shred of wrestling kayfabe I had.
I know. But anywho, so when you see the WWE's Twitter feed are doing this, it's not like oh man, WWE are teasing us. But they, repeated some of Miz's words and they emphasized the dashing part of Cody's thing. And then when Edge did his promo later on, they were like, who is going to walk through? Is this just smoke and mirrors? Who is going to be the person to respond to Edge's open challenge? So either WWE have 100p signed Cody Rhodes and he will be debuting on television, or they are hedging their bets that he is going to sign and be like, let's just start the teasers now.
Or Miz and Edge are pretty trusted in their promo segments. I think this is stuff that Miz and Edge have thought up on their own and gone, do you mind if I throw in a little sneaky tease? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Just like Kevin Owens made weird references to a Mount Rushmore back in December, which was an allusion to him potentially going to join the Young Bucks and Adam Cole over in AEW. It's just, and WWE, I'm sure, had already agreed terms with Owens by the sound of it by that point. So it's just KO screwing with people. I think this is just Edge and Miz putting a few little references to Cody potentially coming to WWE.
So you think it's still just a potentially coming. You don't know whether he is fully re-signing with WWE.
Going by the reports, Cody's definitely on his way to WWE. Whether those plans have been explicitly told to Edge and The Miz to put tiny, tiny subtle references into their promos that don't connect to Cody coming in.
But unless, of course, Cody has texted them and said, I'll see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
And so they know that he's coming in, so they're dropping in these little references. But like what Miz was doing here was explicitly telling you or hinting that his tag partner was going to be Cody Rhodes. Like it was one massive troll job. But I kind of agree with what you said earlier. I don't think anyone in the building thought it was Cody Rhodes. And we've talked about this a few times on the WrestleTalk podcast, particularly recently, that do we just think that a lot of WWE's audience that goes to shows are not this audience? Because there have been times where they've made like references to people being fired or like, hey, you know, that you left John Morrison out to dry about this and the other. And
the Riot Squad members.
And no one reacts to it. And here, like, they were dropping explicit Cody hints. And not a single soul chanted for Cody. No one popped for it. So are we just in our little wrestling bubble? And we're really the only people that care that Cody... It's us and WWE that care that Cody is coming back.
Are we in a wrestling bubble or are we on a wrestling island? Cody Island. I like Stephen Larson reference. It's difficult, isn't it? Because I always thought the live shows of WWE were mostly made up of just families, casual fans.
The wrestling's in town.
But I also believe that the hardcores go. Because if you're a hardcore WWE fan, WWE are in town, you're going to go to that. So let's just say it's 20% of hardcore. They would know Cody. They would immediately get the dashing reference. They would know Cody has left. It was the number 2 trending topic on Google. I had people who don't even watch AEW, who are my friends, have texted me, been like, God, you seen Cody Rhodes has left that other place?
Have you seen? Hey, we should really text Oli and see if he's aware of this news.
I've got one friend who will text me, oh, you see AEW, the pay-per-view the other night. I just give. He means it. He means it well, but it's incredibly frustrating to go. Yes, I don't even say. Yeah, it's my job. I have to watch all of these.
I watched it live. You can watch me watch it live.
I did it once. I sent him a link to my podcast. Anyway, yeah, I don't think. What was? I think if Cody comes back, he'll get a pop. But will it be a huge pop? Are the WWE audience ready to accept him back or even care about him coming back? Based on this, I'm not sure.
I think there are 2 different types of return pops that we are going to see here. The 2 comparisons that I would give. So say, look at the pop that Edge got when he came back. WWE legend Edge. It's like, oh my God, Edge is back. You compare that to the pop that Adam Cole got or Bryan Danielson got at All Out, which is like, oh my God, Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan have jumped ship to AEW. Cody is getting not an Edge level reaction, but an Edge type reaction, which is like, oh my God, Cody Rhodes has returned. I watched him 10 years ago in WWE, and they've brought Cody Rhodes back.
So, okay, we've got Edge at one end of the scale, a big, like that's the biggest WWE return in recent memory, and amazing,
a huge one.
Then was it the same year? Carlito.
Oh right, yeah. So you're trying to grade this on a curve.
Yeah. So Carlito's a guy who came back, and everyone was like, "Wow, he looks good. He can still wrestle." He was gone within 3 weeks, and if he stayed, would that have changed anything? No, he would have been buried into the mid card, if that. Where would you put Cody?
I think he's more. I mean, he's certainly more towards the Carlito end of things.
Oof.
Well, only because, like, I mean, what did Cody do when he was in WWE? He did basically all the same stuff that Carlito did, which is won a bunch of mid-card titles, and that is about it.
I think people more fondly remember Cody's WWE career because of what he's done since. Well, but
that's what he's done since is what you and I go to. But we're talking about the myopic WWE fan base that weren't reacting to the Cody teases in the show. Like you and I picking up on Miz saying dashing, or, you know, Edge being like, I'm challenging anyone out there to come and face me. So I'm like, oh man, that might be Cody Rhodes. We're talking about the people that are just watching the WWE product, aren't even aware that there's this AEW thing. If they're not aware there's an AEW show out there, they weren't watching Cody in Ring of Honor or like all the stuff he did in Bullet Club.
I genuinely don't know. Should we get a poll going?
Let's get a poll going. Because like this is, you know, he is a former WWE mid-carder. That is what he is to the WWE universe. He is not a all-time legend and all-time great. He's not the guy who went and changed the wrestling landscape in the last 5 years. He is a WWE mid-carder who once lost to the Big Show at WrestleMania. I'm stoked to see what they're going to do with Cody in WWE. I'm so curious to see what level of push Cody is going to get in WWE. I thought these teasers were interesting.
They were too subtle. Like you could dismiss it. I never picked up on the Mount Rushmore reference from Kevin Owens. I think dashing was more obvious than that.
Yeah,
but it was still pretty subtle.
But it was. It was also from a wrestling family. He is a reality TV star, that sort of thing. So like it was a bunch of like Cody stuff in there to do the troll of lol, it's Logan Paul. But honestly, I think Logan Paul got a bigger reaction than what Cody probably would have got, because Logan Paul's a legit mainstream star.
Shall we see what you guys think? WrestleTalk.com/support. Get in your Ultrachats there. We'll read out every single one over $5. Jack Nichols just read out your email on the podcast version, the audio podcast version.
I just read it as well.
If Cody is Limp Bizkit, Logan Paul is Disturbed. Logan Paul can do one. So can WWE. I don't understand.
What's that?
I don't understand.
Oh, it was while you were off, I'd said that Limp Bizkit were better than Disturbed. Because you see, it really riles people up.
No amount of pole matches with Shane Douglas will change the fact that I'm LIMP till I DIE, much to my wife's chagrin. Take care, boys. And Mod Mother has said, also Logan Paul.
Do you want to, I would read that.
It's a bad taste joke. Van Twinblade. Also review before reading. Okay, so it's stuff, you know, Logan Paul was a couple of years ago. He did a vlog in a forest in Japan, famed for suicides, found a dead body and uploaded the video about it. Pretty awful, reprehensible behavior.
Yeah.
And that's what Van Twinblade is talking about. Kevin, this is now on from the Cody chat, unless you want to talk more about Cody.
Well, no, I was just going to say on the Logan Paul things, we didn't actually talk about the fact that Miz has brought out Logan Paul, which had been reported by PW Insider following Elimination Chamber, because I know you were like, oh my God, Cody's going to be the tag partner of The Miz.
I said teased. I didn't know, but that was the perfect placement for him. Imagine, like, how more could you screw up Cody coming back to WWE
as the Miz's tag partner?
Miz's tag partner against the Mysterios to promote 2K22.
Yeah, well, you know, and also this is I spoke about this in the WrestleTalk news that I did on Sunday, that WWE are looking to do a celebrity heavy Mania this year because they are desperate to sell out both nights of their Mania in Dallas, and they are far from doing so, which is why they're doing lots of 2-for-1 offers. Me and Andy were joking about the fact that there have been 5 different 2-for-1 offers within like 5 days space. Like if you miss one, there'll be another one the following day. Like it's okay. So that's why they're loading it with Brock and Roman, title for title, winner takes all. It's Charlotte versus Ronda, Sammy versus Johnny Knoxville, Logan Paul as the tag team partner. This is really like almost WrestleMania 1 of it's rock and wrestling, it's Cyndi Lauper, it's Liberace. And I was just curious to know what your take on this was, because there was a period of time where WrestleMania was the part-timer show. Like, what part-time was we bringing back to do WrestleMania? Like, going by what the reports are at the moment, so what Fightful was sort of alluding to, this is what WrestleMania looks like moving forward. It's more celebrity-style matches as opposed to focus on main roster talent.
I'm not against celebrity matches. Look, it's WWE. It's ingrained in its DNA. Like you said, from WrestleMania 1, celebrity is a huge way of WWE doing its thing. Mike Tyson. the Muppets.
Yeah.
You know? So, it's not my preference for wrestling, but I think WWE, to their credit, have done very good celebrity wrestling matches recently.
Bad Bunny last year.
Bad Bunny was amazing. Logan Paul, when he came out and teamed with The Miz and they beat up the Mysterios, he's a big guy. He towered over Rey. He's taller than The Miz. I was like, as a heel, this works.
I'm glad they had the foresight to bring him back as a heel this time, because it failed miserably when they tried to bring him in as a babyface.
But as WrestleMania in general, I don't know, it's changed so much. It's 2 nights. I don't think you could have multiple celebrity matches on a one-night Mania. So 1 a night, fine. Mm-hmm. The rest of it, I guess the part-time era is over because they've run out of part-timers.
Yeah, true.
Brock has kind of been full-time as this run. There's no Rock, there's no
Trips,
there's no Cena. But you could have Stone Cold, you could have Vince McMahon. Could have Linda McMahon versus Hulk Hogan.
I saw you're running the story yesterday of Vince McMahon running for a WWE return.
It was more the ringside news report that everything's being pitched.
Yeah.
So, I imagine they are chucking every idea around.
We've got to start 2 nights of that big ass stadium. We actually have a few more chats now on the Logan Paul thing, or not on the Cody thing rather. Right, DR said, I personally have been obsessed with wrestling since 1992. Don't bother getting excited over teasers and promos, especially from The Miz, who habitually trolls. In a situation like Cody's, I'll be fine just waiting for when whatever theme music plays. Raw after Mania is when I would debut. That is what I would save it for.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're doing Cody Edge, I would wait until the Raw after Mania.
So Edge's promo, he sat down in a spotlight, sort of story time with Edge, baby. It was a really good promo.
Great promo.
He spoke about how he used to watch WrestleMania, how he started stealing the show at WrestleMania, TLC, matches with The Undertaker, etc. And didn't mention the Randy Orton one, did he?
He didn't.
It's still going on. But yeah, he made a few references. I've always thought Edge versus AJ Styles. That makes the most sense to me.
That's apparently what has been pitched.
Right, because Edge did say something about feeling phenomenal.
Words to that effect, yeah.
I think if Cody bring Cody in early so you capitalize on the jump. But yeah, you're probably right. Night after WrestleMania, it's a new season. Roman has both belts. He can eventually drop one of those belts to Cody.
And if you think that is probably going to be the hardcore of the hardcore audience, that Raw after Mania, because this will be the first proper Raw after Mania in 2 years. Because we've had in the Thunderdome or in empty arenas for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but the Raw after Mania has been rubbish far before the pandemic.
Well, maybe this year they'll actually put some effort in. Maybe it'll be like, we're going to crown a new double champion, and then, oh no, the Bar have come out. And the bad one, Jambeard, said, I don't disagree with the view that Cody will just be a mid-card again, but do you think there's a chance they will treat Cody the same way they treated and pushed Drew? Their routes after WWE were similar to each other. They rebuilt themselves. The difference there is that Drew was always destined to be a top guy before he left. Cody never was. And Tenrosa said, I prefer Cody to Logan. I now know what my bathroom break will be. I don't know where my interest level is for Mania. I hope Stone Cold comes in, but I guess I'm just interested in the huge crowd and stage. What are your interest levels at?
Yeah, still not that high. I think it's it's either predictable or I don't care about the results. I think the matches I want to see haven't been announced yet. On the Stone Cold stuff, I had a gut feeling when we led with it in the news last Tuesday before Cody left AEW. I was like, why doesn't this feel bigger? It felt like Shawn Michaels making his return. Like, that's a big story. He was never going to come out of retirement. And he came out of retirement and wrestled a match. And no one was really that interested.
Yeah. Do you remember when we got told that? So it's like just before it fully had come out and it had been reported, you and I were told, I've heard this by someone, that they're looking to bring Shawn back in. It's going to be Shawn and Hunter versus Brother Destruction in Saudi Arabia. I said, I was like, that's not happening. There's absolutely no way that is happening. And even when Meltzer then ran with it, I was still like, I don't buy it. I don't think that's going to happen. And then when it actually did come out, a lot of people's reaction was it was more disappointment than anything else. Because it was because it was in Saudi Arabia and then it ended up being the train wreck that it was. But I think Austin is slightly different. I think the Austin reaction would have been bigger had it not come on the same day as the Cody news, because the
I
Cody
dunno.
news completely buried it.
I spoke to a casual friend. He's a good friend. He's a casual wrestling fan. And his reaction was, "Oh, isn't he really old though?" And I think that's
There's every chance, yeah.
that might be a lot of people's reaction. He didn't even break the top 20 on Google searches on Tuesday.
That's insane.
Cody was at number 2.
I also want those wrestling fans of yours and my generation that aren't watching still are probably, I don't know, like they're obviously still out there, but are they going to be interested in watching a guy wrestling after he hasn't wrestled in 20 years? And then the newer generation that are watching wrestling didn't see Austin wrestle, so they have no nostalgic reference to him. So do they really care?
Yeah. Well, let's hear from our sponsors today before we get in with the rest of the Raw review. It's us.
It is indeed. It is patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where we've got a whole bunch of bonus extra content for you to enjoy. There's Wrestle League. There's Fan Quizzlemania. You know Quizzlemania they do with Adam Blompier. We do it for you guys as well, and it's a whole lot of fun. You were on this month's one. How was it?
Oh, man.
Did you do badly?
No. Well, it's not about me. It's about German Dan, Mayor of Painesville Dan. He was leading until the last 2 questions. Dan. And Greg Cherry beat him.
Daniel. Honestly, Daniel.
He had it in his grasp.
You will get there, my friend. But we've also got the Team Danuke mailbag show. Me and Ollie reviewing classic pay-per-views for like 2 to 3 hours. And Wrestle Talk After Dark. If you wonder what it's like, here's a clip.
I'm an ass man.
That's not actually the clip. I know Pete's watching, so I just wanted to troll him.
Independent Taiwan says, I already asked this question on the latest mailbag show, but I'm curious if other Wrestle Talk crews answers. So what are your go-to jokes for first dates, or just in general?
Okay, all right. This is it. This is the. I think I said this because we had this on the Wrestle mailbag show.
On the mailbag, yeah,
with Denise. It's how do you organize a party in space? You plan it.
Very good. Mine is far less tasteful.
Oh, Tempest.
I have one favorite go-to joke, and it makes me laugh every time. And if the person that I'm seeing laughs at it, I know they're a keeper. Very simply, what did Cinderella say when she got to the ball?
Yes, I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it. It's great.
So good.
Oh, Tempest. Christmas
Day.
Just the one?
Wow.
Just the one ball?
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. That's what throws you off, doesn't it?
It's
Very good. Very good, Tempest. It's quite the joke.
Patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Go over there. Become a Pledgehammer today. Right, so this episode of Raw opened with...
Comfy Brock and his lovely cardigan.
He looked so comfy. And then he took off his really comfy patterned cowboy jumper and had skin...
Let's not be... It was a cardigan.
A cardigan.
Let's not beat around the bush. He was wearing a cardigan.
And he was wearing a skin-tight black shirt underneath. He was like evil Bryan Danielson.
He came out and he's wearing such a comfy looking cardigan. I'm a man who appreciates a good cardigan. I love cardigans. And I was like, that is a good looking cardigan. And then he got into the ring and his first thought was like, very hot wearing this. Like, of course it's hot. You're wearing a cardigan indoors under all those hot lights.
And the babyface Brock is an interesting beast. I do like watching him on screen. But is he as... Well, of course he's credible because he's Brock Lesnar, but you would not see him dress like this in a UFC fight, for instance. Not saying he'd get into the ring with a cowboy hat on, but in the press conferences, in the interviews, the weigh-ins. Do you think, similar to how Becky sometimes goes the wrong end of overly heel fashion, do you think this is taken away?
He's going overly babyface with his fashion choices.
It's normcore, I think, is the correct trend name for it.
I think he's just showing up doing whatever he wants to do. Like, I'd imagine Vince has got, like, there's dress codes backstage, but they don't apply to some people. Brock is one of those people. And it's just like, hey, Brock, what are you wearing when you go out to do your segment? It's like, whatever I've got on now. I've got my cardigan on. Do you want me to change? I mean, getting changed in my gear, so bright cardigan it is. I've got my cowboy hat on.
Isn't it weird how both promotions have cowboys as their champions?
But who's the real cowboy? Should ask Dan Lambert. So Heyman comes out, interrupts him very early on, and makes the announcement that Brock is going to defend. Roman isn't. Roman's not defending his title until Mania, but Brock has to defend his title at Madison Square Garden on March 5th, which is the day before AEW Revolution. So do you think they do an airing of that MSG show on the 6th? So 24 hours later, air it on Peacock directly against Revolution.
It's a possibility. What, and debut Cody as the mystery opponent? Because Heyman said, look, you're going to face Bobby Lashley for the title, and I'll make sure you don't end the night as champion still. Which is weird, because why wouldn't you want Brock to have the title to go against your guy Roman to win both titles at Mania?
That's a good point.
So I didn't understand Heyman's motivation there. But Heyman said, hey, but Bobby might not have passed concussion protocol. All the reports are, it's a shoulder injury, first off. He's not going to be on that show. So Bobby definitely isn't at Madison Square Garden. Isn't it also weird how WWE are now using concussions as kayfabe excuses? When someone actually has a concussion, they're like, everything's fine. We don't mention that word.
Well, I think that you don't want to present Bobby as with a weakness, because a shoulder injury is just like, oh my God, he's actually fallible and he can get injured.
A concussion's a weakness.
Yeah,
so's a shoulder injury.
I'm trying to dive into the mind of Vince McMahon, which is a weird place to be. He may have just woken up one morning and be like, well, goddamn, pal, he's the Almighty. The Almighty doesn't get a shoulder injury.
No, but he did. Oh, yeah, good point, yeah. He could only be hurt in his head.
The only way we could take Bobby Lashley out of the storylines if he got a concussion. It's the only way. No one would believe Bobby Lashley would have a shoulder injury. His shoulders are too big to get injured.
Mid-40-year-old Bobby Lashley can't possibly have a shoulder injury.
He was in the army.
So Heyman said, if Lashley can't make it, I will ensure and he said something like a legend, a worldwide caliber opponent or something like that.
Yeah. Austin Theory.
Heyman
brings in Austin Theory to be the guy. It's a big troll. It's just another troll thing.
Off the back of the chamber interaction.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it would make Heyman look like a massive chump, because he looked at Austin Theory in that chamber match getting F5'd into oblivion and be like, that could be the guy, you know.
So what? Yeah. I don't know what this could be. And it's weird for WWE to promote a house show. I know it's Madison Square Garden, and Vince loves Madison Square Garden. That's his home turf, and it has not sold well, and it hasn't sold well in previous years. Like the last show they did, I read, was the third lowest ever, and that's dating back to the 40s. So they're going to need, and they've got Brock, they've got Ronda, they've got Roman.
Which is why I think it'll also be on Peacock.
And Cody.
I mean, the thing is, though, if it's Cody, then Cody has to go in and lose.
Yeah. Or he wins. And then it's not for all the belts.
Yeah, but like, surely the ticket draw of this, because if you notice, they haven't said which night Brock and Roman is on. Because as a fan, if that's the match you want to see, you've then got to buy tickets for both nights so you don't miss the match.
What a company. So Brock then sort of lost his way a bit. He said the same line a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, this is why you shouldn't be left alone with a microphone for too long.
So this is why they're scripted.
And Heyman left, and Brock said, I'll see you on SmackDown. Seth and KO were backstage. They're interviewed by Kevin Patrick about not having a WrestleMania match, either of them. That made me think, if Vince comes back, Vince and Austin against KO and Seth.
Well, yeah, because Kevin is still doing his whole I hate Dallas thing, which is what, it's leading to a lot of people thinking if it is Austin, then it's Austin versus Owens. But yeah, what if it is Austin and Vince in a tag match, hiding both of them? You can just work over Vince, build that Austin hot tag, just comes in, does his 6 spots, and off you go.
After that, the Alpha Academy beat the Street Profits again.
My best friends, the Street Profits. Do you see the great interactions I had with them at the BT Sport events?
It was a fun match. Montez Ford was really good in this match. He picks up Otis at the end, though. Otis, he's a tree trunk. He's too heavy. Bianca Belair could pick him up, surely, but not Montez Ford. Montez Ford falls backwards. Chad grabs the leg to hold him down, and Alpha Academy cheat to win.
I really enjoyed this match.
That was a good
I thought
match.
this match was really, really good. Got great by the end as well. Some really good near falls. I mean, going back to that BT Sport interview that I did, please go and check that out here on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel. I interviewed the Street Profits, Bianca Belair and Mustache Mountain. Angelo Dawkins told me in that interview he doesn't leave his feet. That's Tez's stuff. Like he goes, I will do the jumping, spinning splash into the corner, but I'm a ground-based wrestler.
They did a dive outside.
That's what I was going to say. And I was like, that prick lied to me because here he is doing a big old dive over the ropes.
It worked, you. After that, we got Tommaso Ciampa.
Sorry, last thing I want to say, my favorite spot of that match was Tez doing that springboard and Chad Gable reversing it into a Northern Light suplex. Oh, it's picture perfect.
I liked how in Alpha Academy's entrance, you could hear Chad on the house mics go, shush!
And when they won on the house mics going, thank you!
Yeah. After that, Tommaso Ciampa needs a tag partner to go against the Dirty Dogs. It's Finn Balor. He's back.
Balor is back. They said that Balor would be, as WrestleVotes thing said, that he'll be back by Mania. So yeah, here he is. He's back.
Yeah. They had a fine match, went 5 minutes-ish, and Ciampa rolled up Bobby to win.
At least they're doing some like cross promotion. Now that Vince is in charge of NXT, he's like, well, goddamn, pal, now we need to cross promote this thing. So thumbs up for that, massively so.
Yeah. I Finn, Dolph, Ciampa, Robert Roode. This is like a match of disappointment. I don't. As good as the match is, I can't get into it because it breaks my heart seeing these four guys. MizTV next, and that's when we had Logan Paul come out. Any other bits on this?
The Mysterios had woeful dialogue in this, and yeah. I mean, obviously the Miz is unlikable because he's the Miz, and he's supposed to be, he's the heel, but the Mysterios aren't coming off likable in this feud either.
Well, at Elimination Chamber, Dom cheated early on with no provocation from the Miz.
And then they beat him up after the match.
2-on-1.
For no reason.
Maybe Logan Paul is a babyface.
Have they turned the Miz babyface again? If he starts doing the figure four, and he's like, Ric Flair's going to come back and like coach him to do it again.
Alpha Academy got interviewed about the main event tag. The main event was KO and Seth versus RK Bro. If KO and Seth won off of, because they had the match the previous week, they get added to the tag title match. Good main event hook for me.
Liked it.
VEER video package.
He is now 13 days away from breaking Emelina's Is Coming records. 2 more weeks, VEER. If you can just do 2 more weeks, he will be the new reigning Is Coming champion.
Rhea Ripley, talking of things that are going on forever. Rhea Ripley took on Nikki A.S.H.
Poor Nikki.
And beat her.
What, poor Nikki, man. Like they've made a complete chump out of her now. This heel turn has fallen flat on its ass.
Made a complete jump?
They were trying. When she was the champion, I say they were trying. They at least put the money in the bank on her, put the belt on her. They featured her. But since they've done the heel turn, they've broken this tag team up. Like the whole tag team story was, you're crap and you lose a lot. Then they broke up and now her storyline is, you're crap and you lose a lot.
Hey, consistency. It's something we want from WWE. They give it to us and we complain.
But what did Rhea pinning her here for the 4th time, I believe, in 3 weeks, done for either person?
Well, what it did is it filled time. And WWE put out a lot of product every week. And sometimes you just need to do something on TV.
Do you think, because clearly Alexa is directionless, because I think they brought her back early to fill that Elimination Chamber spots, clearly by that voiceover package where, it's just like, I'm now cured of my therapy. I believe there's an Elimination Chamber this weekend.
He went back to his home planet.
I have to go now. And they just brought her back as the exact same character, the exact same music. And they were like, oh, we don't really know what we're doing this next days. Just stick her back with Nikki, and they can just be 2 villains together.
Poor Mr. CJ Lilly. He was not happy on our live reactions. Yeah, because she didn't win. She got close.
She did get close.
I really enjoyed the women's chamber.
I actually thought the final stretch between Bliss and Bianca was awesome. And I think Bianca winning was completely the right call.
100%.
It was WWE's fault for bringing back Bliss when she shouldn't have been brought back. Nothing against Alexa. She just shouldn't have been in that match.
We got, they said, next when we come back from the break, The Undertaker. You heard that, right?
Well, they said they were going to highlight his career, yeah. So I think it was just the Undertaker video package.
That's all it was.
That they played on SmackDown and at the Chamber.
I've seen it a lot now. Damien Priest, babyface Damien Priest took on Shelton Benjamin in Shelton Benjamin's home state, which meant everyone booed Damien Priest. What is wrong with you, WWE?
Made $1 billion. Yeah, he quite convincingly beat Shelton Benjamin here. Still of the Hurt Business are apparently Shelton and Cedric. Poor lads. Having said that, this is what you and I said. This is what they're there for. When we said why did Damien Priest have to beat AJ Styles, or AJ Styles had to beat Damien Priest? This is what you have the Hurt Business to do: is to go out there and be beaten by the bigger stars.
Damien Priest cut a promo afterwards saying, well, Shelton Benjamin, really showed me something there. Thanks, Shelton Benjamin. And the crowd are just like, oh, F you! And he says, I want someone of world championship caliber to face me.
Whoa, you're only smoking mirrors. No, it was Balor. It was Finn Balor again.
It was Finn Balor again.
Who came out like he hadn't returned for a match earlier.
Yeah.
It's my big return here. I saw you about 20 minutes ago, mate.
They did this so out of order. His big return was stepping into shot for a Tommaso Ciampa gorilla position interview.
Yeah.
So Finn comes out and Corey Graves Jimmy Smith, I don't know, they're all one voice to me now, goes, yeah, he was once a world champion.
He was the first Universal champion.
For like a day. But it happened, so this is okay.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're getting Finn Balor versus Damien Priest next week for the US title.
Sounds like a fun match.
Sounds like the exact sort of time for WWE to randomly change a championship.
Well, I think someone might have pointed out that he is now Damien Priest is the longest running US champion since Ambrose.
Wow.
Do you remember when Ambrose had it and he defended it once in like a year and a half?
Smart guy. That's what I would do.
Yeah, so that's what Priest got. At least Priest has defended the belt. He did better with the belt than Nakamura's done with the IC title.
After that, we got the worst thing on the show.
No!
Come
on. Seriously now.
So bad it was good territory?
I thought this was great.
Well, please recap.
So we got the recap of Reggie and Dana's storyline from last week where...
That was Dana.
Yeah.
Thought it was Natalia.
No. Well, you know it's Dana because everyone comes up to be like, you're doing so well. Well done.
Honestly, Dana has Natalia's hair and makeup now. It's creepy.
Well, I like palette swapped her in 2K.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they recapped Reggie and Dana from last week where Reggie schoolboyed her and won the 24/7 title when she sort of went in for a hug. It was a really cool spot. I thought it was a great finish last week. And he comes out here and he invites Dana to come out to apologize for what he did last week. And he's like, look, I'm really sorry. The moment got the better of me. I'm going to lay down in the ring here. He did a flip beforehand as well. For whatever reason, he was just like, woohoo! And then...
He's an energetic guy.
Yeah, got to get it out of his system.
Oof, just burn off a few calories.
And so he lays down in the ring. And the referee comes down. Dana covers him. 1, 2. And he kicks out. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick out there. And so he goes down again. 1, 2. Kicks out again. He's like, I'm so sorry. I honestly, this time I will do. Dana got the smarts. Goes in for the cover. And then does the lip lock on him.
The
Greco-Roman lip lock. And he can't kick out now. So Dana pins him.
Stiff as a board he went.
Dana wins the 24/7 title again and celebrates. But like, it worked. And Reggie's like, oh my God, I can't believe I fell for that. 24/7 geeks run out. And they bump Tozawa off the apron, who gets caught by Tamina, who has been doing he and her were trying to interrupt the Valentine's Day meal last week. So he thinks like, they're in a relationship. Maybe me and Tamina are in a relationship now. So he does this big pucker up face of like, and now kiss me. And Tamina just drops him on his keister and then chases after the big geek that she is. I genuinely loved. Look at my note here. That was funny.
Well, I'm happy that you enjoyed it.
I did.
I I hated it. I got from the end when Dana kissed him and she stood up and Reggie was like, yeah, I am now your man. I will help. And he helped her escape. He helped fend off some of the 24/7 jabronis. Was Finn Balor in there? I feel like he might have made his third return on the same episode.
I'm going to be a double champion next week.
And so it's like, okay, so does Reggie now think he's in a relationship with Dana, but Dana was only doing it to win the title? That's when I go, no, I don't like that.
All I'm saying is, look, WWE have got a relationship with Netflix. This should be the movie that they do for Netflix. It's something around, a rom-com based around pinning each other for the 24/7 title.
I mean, that is like very WWE-like to agree probably a long multi-year film deal with Netflix, and then Netflix like, oh wow, we're gonna get like The Rock and Stone Cold and all these big name stars. First movie, Reggie and Dana Brooke.
Well, this will be their third movie with them. Their first one was with Keith Lee, and then they did the one with New Day and Undertaker.
What was the Keith Lee one?
They did a wrestling movie where like his kid becomes a superhero, and Keith Lee was in it.
I missed that.
It was during the first lockdown. I suggested we do a watch-along party of it, and no one responded to me on Discord.
Wow. Yeah, I've just smashed those glass ceilings, Dana. Yeah,
I hope next week Beth
really
Phoenix
happy.
comes up to her and is like, I'm so proud of you for what you've accomplished.
You worked so hard. Bianca Belair came out for a promo. Becky Lynch interrupted her, and they had a really good start to their, the WrestleMania home straight, really, of their feud. They talked about the SummerSlam squash. They talked about Bianca being sent to the back of the line, then working her way to the front. Lynch, I haven't really heard her do this before, but she blamed Bianca for the crowd turning on her, why haven't they brought that up before? Sorry if I've missed it, but that is a great reasoning for Lynch to hate Belair so much.
Yeah, and it's amazing that, according to WWE 2K22's own Louis Dangoor, this wasn't the plan. Like, the SummerSlam victory for Becky, the idea was, and that will then lead to Becky Belair at WrestleMania, where Belair finally gets the big win. Apparently, until like December, that was not the direction at all, which means there was no end goal in mind for the Bianca Belair thing, because the proposed plan, at least according to Louis Dangoor, was the 4 Horsewomen Fatal 4-Way.
I read that report differently. I read it that until Ronda let them know in December, oh, I'm not going to come back. Mm-hmm. So then they had a few weeks of pitching a Fatal 4-Woman.
So John Alba's follow-up to it was that there was no direction for the Bianca Belair storyline.
But they've made it into something really quite good.
That's because that's what they do. They luck into these things. I thought a lot of this was actually really good. I really wish they hadn't scripted Belair to do this, because Belair cut this great promo at the start talking about how she's the EST and everything. And Becky Lynch has this amazing line where she just goes, the only reason you got to headline WrestleMania is because I did it first, which I think is a terrific line. And Belair's response line to that was, yeah, but I did it better. What a terrible, childish response that was. Like, well, yeah, but I did it better. Like,
I don't mind that.
I thought it was garbage. And I was like, it makes me not want to like Belair. And I love Belair because I think she's awesome. A lot of people were surprised I was taller than Bianca Belair when I interviewed her. And I was like, man, Luke must be massive. I'm 5'10". I'm not even 6 foot. So they argued for a little bit, and then Belair had this match with Doudrop. Fun little rematch, we've seen a few times before.
Really
but
fun.
Really, really good. Made better by Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was so great on commentary. Isn't it amazing when you're allowed to have character when you're doing commentary? And they kept...
It confused me, if I'm honest. I couldn't get into who was more over. I found myself like my ears were like, but huh?
Yeah. But I love the fact that... You all right?
Yeah.
You're just confused. But they kept coming back to Becky, who was selling all of Bianca Belair's moves. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. Which is what she was doing during the Doudrop feud as well. Like, she'd watch Doudrop wrestle and be like, I've got myself into a bit of a situation here. And she was doing it with Belair. Belair hit the KOD, and Becky was like, took up her head to being like, oh my God, what situation am I in? The second Belair looks at her, she's standing on the table, posing with her belt, being like, I'm not scared of you at all. Becky is so great at this.
Yeah. And the match was really good as well. even though, yeah, like you said, they've done it a bunch of times, and we've seen Belair hit the KOD on Doudrop, the crowd went crazy for it. And there was this cool running powerbomb out of the corner as well.
Doudrop made her look awesome.
So Belair won. Yeah, I love what Lynch is doing. Every segment she nails. As I really enjoyed the leader stuff. But it was all Becky. It was kind of like having it was the promo equivalent of Ric Flair wrestling a broom. Those Becky Lynch and leader segments. But it's just problematic that Becky isn't the right character for how the crowd want to receive her. I think she could explode if she was just made a tweener.
Yeah.
We got the Edge promo that we've already spoken about, and then the main event was RK Bro versus Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Really fun match.
I loved the fact that the commentary kept saying, Riddle and Rollins must not be 100% after that chamber match. Not a single one of them was selling their chamber whatsoever.
But a scratch.
It was like Seth Rollins is running around the ring and Riddle's doing these two. Can't be 100% following that chamber match.
Seth.
None of them sold that chamber match whatsoever.
I feel like Kevin Owens was probably selling a match from 2 weeks ago more than Seth Rollins.
I think it must be weird. Doing it, talk about this. Shortest chamber match in history. It was only 15 minutes long.
I did that. I mean, it flew by. I am not going to complain about a 2 hour, 45-minute show.
Beautiful, wasn't it? And honestly, 16 minutes it took for Roman Reigns and Goldberg to do their entrances. They were longer than the Elimination Chamber main event.
Wow. But that's what Goldberg is. That's the
all
correct balance.
It's all Roman, though, isn't it? Just slowly walking down the ring.
Gold Roman.
Look closer, Lenny. Anyway, I thought this was a really, really fun tag match with a wicked finish as well to Riddle, which was the buckle bomb into the stunner, into the stomp to pick up the win. Sets up a triple threat for 2 weeks' time. Look at that, promoting a match for 2 weeks' time.
US title match next week, yeah.
Alpha Academy, RK Bro, Owens and Rollins. If it's not Austin, if Austin's not returning, this feels like a really good backup to do RK Bro versus the Best Friends at WrestleMania.
That would disappoint me because I think Alpha Academy are so good now that I want that three-way again.
Well, you could always say...
you know what I'm going to say.
What are you going to say?
You can't just do the three-way
triangle ladder match.
TLC.
Hey, that would sell tickets probably. Tag
Owens
team
will
TLC.
go bananas in a ladder match.
You could do that and, play video clips from X7, the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and how that was one of the show-stealing matches. Focus it all on Edge and Devon Dudley and no one else in that match. I think that would be, that'd be wicked. I would actually throw the Profits in there as well.
No, that's too much.
But you got to get everyone on the card.
Well, surely them versus Dirty Dogs.
Yeah, great.
There's a battle royal somewhere. There's a battle royal with two Dirty Dogs missing. Orton was also stomped on the outside. That's what took him out for the finish. But I'm looking forward to a Raw in 2 weeks' time. That's crazy.
And you know what? I really enjoyed this episode of Raw.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't love it as much as everyone else did. I've got to admit, I was bored a lot of the time. But that's also Raw in general.
Yeah.
I liked how it did feel like the proper start of the build to Mania.
Yes, I would say, I'd say that. Like, now that Chamber is out the way, we are now on the road. That roadblock has been passed. Thought this was a really fun sort of first step. I enjoyed the Brock stuff at the start and his comfy cardi. For the most part, I thought the wrestling up and down the card was really, really good.
I thought the wrestling was good, but it was short. There was no proper meaty match in there.
No, but at least it was, I was never massively bored, which I often am with Raw. And actually, I thought the 3 hours flew by. Like when they did the Edge segment, I thought we were only at the top of hour 2, and then I'm like, no, the main event's coming up next. So I actually thought I'm not going to give it a 4 out of 5 or anything. I still would have given it a 3 out of 5. This is a perfectly fine average episode of Raw, but I did enjoy myself. What did you give? What was it in your percentage world?
It's 56, isn't it? It's 56%.
Oh, 56%, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, you've got to think if AEW Dynamite is for 80, an 80% show. This is nowhere close.
Well, I suppose you're right. Yeah, I mean, the poll up on our community tab, it was 40s at 49%, 3 out of 5. They've got 22%, 2 out of 5, 16%, 1 out of 5.
You see, 56% is 4% off 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
So, nah.
You're right.
Just trying to remember how to transition. We've already told you about After Dark and Fanquizzlemania.
Yeah, we have.
But what about Patreon shoutouts?
Oh, that's a very good. That was seamless.
It was almost like that's how we sometimes record stuff that isn't live. And just stop there. Just stop there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say this now. All right. Cool. Edit this out, Rich.
Do you do this when when you do the news? If you sort of flub a sentence halfway through, or like the prompter hasn't quite caught up, so do you like pause and then just like continue with the same inflection you would have done that sentence continuing? Yeah, I do that as well.
It's a skill. But yes, if you become a Pledgehammer over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, not only will you get all the stuff we spoke about earlier in this episode, but you'll get a special shout out on this very show with your own wrestling nickname if you pledge over $20 a month or more. So thank you, the Junus brothers. Junus Hakkanen.
He ran. Aaron Hanran.
Ross Hooper Scooper Cooper.
WrestleTalk's personal problem solver, Jamie Donovan.
He's got 2 first names. Matt Howard.
Gold Raven. Freak on a leash.
General Jimmy G.
The man with the scoops, Sean.
Oh, too hot to handle, Lonnie McCullough.
Par for the course, Zarjeth.
Tower of London, Nigel Morris.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class, on Tuesday, the 22nd of February, 2022, what's love got to do with it? Matthew Turner.
What has it got to do with it, Matthew Turner?
We just don't know.
Open up. Chats. I'm
Enhance.
this is only my second time using the pads, the iPads.
Did you see my...
My fingers are too... I could zoom in earlier. Why can't I zoom in anymore?
You can't pinch in on this one. It doesn't work. The pinching doesn't work on that.
But I just...
No, you got to... So you can do the zoom. God's sake. If you go to the numbers and do...
What do you reckon, 50?
Yeah, 150 probably do it.
That's a better zoom.
Yeah,
That's for my eyes.
Did you see my thumbnail for the AEW review last week?
Refresh my memory.
It's the Buddy Matthews one. You know, there's a shot of like Alakai Black, and I tried to enhance the image behind it. And I was basically just... I was like, what? Enhance. Enhance. It did not enhance.
Kevin says, so exciting we're getting Balor versus Priest on Raw next week, but it's okay because we have a big 3-way match for the tag titles on Raw again. Guys, are we sure there's a stupendous 2-night event coming soon?
They said stupendous a lot on this show.
You and Marshall. I know a lot of people are annoyed about Brock, but this current run he is on is really enjoyable to me. I agree. Also off topic, but I think that Tony Khan and Big Plan will be a super show with AEW, New Japan, and Impact. Nice.
I certainly think it will be an AEW New Japan show.
So these are the reports that Tony Khan is working on something major, but it's not a talent acquisition.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a super show that he's got plans.
New Japan need it. Oh my God, but have you seen what New Japan have just announced?
No.
A 48-person tournament.
Did they look at the success WCPW had with it? It was like, do you know what we should do?
And it took up 10 minutes of the opening of Wrestling Observer Radio as Meltzer went through every person and every combination and possible sequence of results.
I mean, I love the G1. We all love the G1, right? But it's my least favorite. It's my least favorite edition of Wrestling Observer Radio when Dave Meltzer starts going through all the possible combinations of who's winning each block and stuff.
It just becomes noise.
It is.
And we love Dave. We love Dave. Wrestling Observer Radio every day.
Well, the Great O'Khan wins that match there, and
that's Sonada. He just won the US Championship. Oh God!
And then of course there's Evil. If Evil wins that match,
I'm halfway through my kid mute. Matt Carney, Oli, in your opinion, is Raw at the moment good, bad, or good, bad? Huh. Raw at the moment is not good by Raw's own standards because it's not. There's nothing hot on it. But it's not bad because bad was last year and that was abysmal. But it's not good bad.
No.
So it's not bad good.
So it's good. I
In those
honestly
limited
think,
options, it's okay.
I honestly think Raw is, I made this joke on the SmackDown review that I did on the WrestleTalk News when Drew McIntyre was asking for people to use the hashtag Madcap Mauling of how he was going to decimate Madcap. I don't think anyone said spike his neck into the ground on an Alabama Slam, but someone said, you should make him watch an episode of Monday Night Raw, and I was like, hey, Raw's been the better show as of late. It's way better than SmackDown is.
Mr. Gajilli. Hey guys, didn't really care for Raw this week with no Alexa. And after Saturday, I'm wondering if she will ever win a championship again or main event WrestleMania ever before she leaves. I feel she's got a few more great moments on her. What's next for Bliss?
Once they figure out what those therapy sessions were actually meant to accomplish, because they clearly brought her back early. I was unsurprised that she was on this show because they have no direction for her. I wonder if it's not going to be the Bellas against Carmella and Vega, if it's Nikki and Bliss against Carmella and Vega for the tag titles.
Or maybe, Rhea's getting a push, weirdly. Maybe they're building her up for Bliss.
Goth on goth.
Yeah. Atten, Raw next week is in my city. Do you guys think it's worth going to? It'll probably just be me.
No?
I would go to the week after with that 3-way tag. But, God.
If they had a house show in your area, 100%. It's a house show, totally. Raws are not fun to attend live.
Roberto, whatever WWE chooses to do, it's better than bringing in RoboCop.
Strong disagree.
James Branch 23. Good morning, all. Someone on Fightful Review suggested VEER make his debut in the Andre Battle Royal, and I think not only should he debut, but win it dominantly. It's a great payoff, and no one else is actively hurt by it, creating a new monster character.
Probably a Moss is winning it, right? Like, a Moss is not getting that big WrestleMania match that we thought he might get. And he didn't win the Royal Rumble, so, give him the Andre match.
I feel like VEER is a joke at the moment. I don't think him eliminating everybody will make it work. Brian Moore, watched Raw to see what direction people will be going in for Mania. One Raw later, still don't know what direction most are going. I agree, but there were allusions to directions.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. Also, wasn't it a few days ago with your interview with the Street Profits, Dawkins said we'd never see him do high spots?
He did say, because I asked them what their dream match would be, and they said it would be a 4 corners ladder match between themselves, the Usos, New Day, and Mustache Mountain. I think they've said Mustache Mountain because they were there. And Dawkins, and Dawkins said, hey, that might be the match where I leave my feet. Nope, it turns out it was against the Dirty Dogs for the 500th time in a year.
CJ, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really care for a Cody return. Also, I can really remember from Stardust is like his one part on WWE Swerved Prank Show and Cody's Smoke and Mirrors theme. Based on his WWE history alone, there's not enough to make me care.
No. There's also Ooh.
And the white belt. People love that he brought back that white belt, and it didn't change a goddamn thing.
Well, that is because he brought back that white belt and said, I'm going to bring prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship. He then lost it, and whoever he lost it to said, I'm going to bring prestige back to this belt. And then Bad News Barrett won, is like, I'm going to bring prestige back to this belt.
Bad news
and then
for
Big
you.
E won, it was like, I'm going to bring prestige back to this belt. It was like, none of you are doing anything with this belt because they don't care about it.
But it's white now. Over to you.
Fox Warrior 88 said, have you seen the new trailer for that Carmella Corey Graves reality show? Saw it and good lord, it not only looks bad, but it's filled with 90% talk about sexual things.
I haven't seen it.
Neither have I.
Do you want to watch it now?
Yeah. Okay.
We can't pop it up onto the screen.
We'd get a copyright strike for it anyway.
But we can watch it.
What's it called? Carmella. What's it called? So if I search for Carmella and Corey Graves. Oh man, Corey Graves, you are nowhere near close to being the top search for Carmella.
So when I say go, that's an advert.
Yeah, it's an advert. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to load it up, you can sync it with us.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd probably say go because you're going to press the button.
Let me just make sure it's loud as possible. 3, 2. Can you see it there?
Yeah, if you just make it big.
Yeah. Just make it big. There you go. 3, 2, 1.
Corey Graves, former WWE superstar.
Maybe turn it down, it might get flagged.
Sorry.
Oh, now you've ruined the sync point.
Okay, so we'll go back and we'll try the sync again. Sorry, Ollie made me turn it down a bit.
Not that I've seen these sorts of things, but it does look like the post interview with a...
Oh, well, you're talking about are shows where people go into boxes and bone, and then they come out and they were like, "How was that for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was all right, actually." The post interviews on Naked Attraction. Yeah, his knob's all right, actually.
Okay.
My name's Corey Graves, former WWE superstar.
There he is.
turned broadcaster.
My name is Carmella, and I am a WWE superstar. La, 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 la.
You get to see Cory and Carmella's personal lives.
Oh, it's next Monday.
Ew. Like genital ward?
For passionate lovemaking.
I could do some stuff in the shower.
I might never leave the shower.
I've never worked out with Corey before.
I can't tell you what's going on between my legs.
I mean,
Wow.
other than, like,
Wow.
Corey's horny.
You do all the work. What happened in the shower yesterday? Did you suck your own?
Oh, baby.
What was... Wait. I don't understand what the bleeps were.
Do you not?
This is what blank... This is like blankety blank to me.
He said, "Did you blank your own blank in the shower?" If I tell you the first one was suck,
How? What? But that's... Can Corey do that?
hey, well, I mean, Carmella certainly just insinuated that he can do.
He's definitely sure
he's
that was,
flexible.
that was a suck.
Okay, well, let's go back and let's review the
You
footage.
could have bust a nut.
Did you bust your own nut? It says in the cracker, no, the nutcrackers.
Touch your own elbow.
They wouldn't have censored touch. So you've got to think, what's the word? What's the first censored word? Because the second one's probably dick.
You think it's a slur? Okay.
I mean, other than like in the bedroom. You do all the work. What happened in the shower yesterday? Did you suck your own?
That is 100%.
That was a suck. That was a suck. Did you suck your own what though?
Nuts.
Did you suck your own... I'd finally be able to reach for the nuts.
I know you don't like dry roasted peanuts. I'm just going to get all the dry roast off of them.
You weren't supposed to see any of this.
Okay, well that was a shot of just a few blurred vibrators.
Panty dropper? Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Get your ass in the shower.
Once these motherfuckers get out of here.
I can't believe that WWE are airing this on their channel. I mean,
On a YouTube channel.
yeah,
What a bizarre
that is because
thing to happen.
there's no networks wanted to pick that up because their first question was, "Who are these two people?" And their follow-up question was, "Why are they just talking about boning each other?" Because why do we want to put on a show where people no one knows boning each other?
But that's a lot of ITV too, you understand.
Well, yeah, but at least
People I don't know trying to bone each other.
No, people you don't know, but people that the wider audience do know.
Fair. Huh.
That
What
is
are
a-
the what are the comments like?
It's a very horny show. I think Cody isn't signing.
What, to that show?
I think Cody will get the same push as John Morrison.
But what are the comments
Oh.
on that YouTube video say?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought you meant our chat. But it was, when's Cody debuting? The 14-year-old boys will love this show. As Carmella's good friend and former tag partner would say, I don't even know if that's PG. Brandon Saxton looks good. Corey, shut up, Saxton. Seems not Brandon Saxton, is it? Byron Saxton. This show is just one big middle finger to the PG era. I'm all here for it.
Okay, well, it seems quite positive.
Just
Not
don't
for
get
me.
R-rated like your boy Xavier Woods. What a weird show to put on WWE's YouTube channel. Because it is essentially just Corey Graves and Carmella walking into rooms being like, good bone on that.
There's a vibrator there. Could bone on that too. Well, you know, maybe
have we boned with this yet?
we'll watch that at lunch tomorrow. We'll review it on this show.
Well, yeah, we can't do it tomorrow. It's not out. till
Yeah,
next
sorry, I
week.
mean next Tuesday.
I'm off next week.
Oh, Pete's gonna love it. Talise Pete. Oh, it's your.
Yeah, sorry,
you go.
Tails P. Are there any other women's tag teams beside the tag champions? Also, Owens hates Texas. You know he's from Texas. That's right, Shaq.
Finally, it's just a big FU to Big Show.
10 Rosa, Bianca Belair is the future and maybe present face of WWE. Incredible. I'm most into Becky, Bianca, and Roman Brock. Hopefully we can get Bayley, Asuka, and Paige back into the mix up with her now. Excuse me. Edge is incredible. Love him. Fellow Foo Fighters fan, Quizzlemania.
I like how Temraza just starts saying things at the end. Quizlemania is tomorrow.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So go subscribe to partsFUNknown.
Did you know that Justin Hawkins from The Darkness does music reviews on YouTube?
I didn't, but I know he brews beer with my local brewery, Signature Brewer.
I think you did tell me that actually. But I was talking to my friend Ash the other day. Apparently, he had a video recently which is like, are the Foo Fighters overrated? With like the big YouTube face, and the answer is no, they're not. They're actually really good.
Smart guy. Are the Foo Fighters actually good?
Banana Whammer 7 said, I have tickets to Mania this year, and I'm still struggling to get excited about it. It'll be fun no matter what, I'm sure, but if this was an AEW card, I'd be way more into it. It's only big names with no real substance or engaging WrestleMania-worthy issues. I asked this question to Andy at the weekend. If you had the option, would you go to WrestleMania? Not this year, just in general.
Oh, in general, yeah. If it wasn't for work and I could go with friends, yeah.
That's too long.
It is too long, though.
Matt Carney, will Tony Khan have to develop himself a healthy dark side in order to, in the future, deal with large narcissistic egos, toxic characters, and misfiring appointees?
No, I think you can run a business and still be sort of ethically consistent and good.
WWE made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Tenrosa, Mania this year really is like Mania 27, a building block for next year's WrestleMania. I just hope TK announces a huge super stadium show with guys from AEW, New Japan, Impact, or a UK show for you guys. What are your predictions for the big announcement from TK? I'll be honest, if it is just we're doing a UK show, that is not like a big announcement. Great.
What if it's a UK show with AEW and New Japan? Because it's neutral territory.
I like that.
I'll take that.
And if they do it at the Copper Box. Benny Boy says, Dawkins lied to you, Luke. That dive was definitely a jump. Opinionated Movies. Hey, guys. Last time I donated, I asked Luke to do a Triple H for Actually Good, but he's not well, so fair enough. So how about Cody Rhodes? Book it, Ollie. Hope you guys are well. All the best.
Well, you can always do a Actually Good if you want.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes would be an interesting one.
He was on the list.
You almost have to wait till he's had a bit of time in WWE, though.
Nate S. Congrats on the championship, Ollie. You preserve it.
Nice.
Clap, clap. Worst Cody debut versus Brock in a dark match or for title or versus Vince at WrestleMania?
Cody versus Vince. Incredible. The dark match.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And congratulations to our new members, J.S. Wooten and Mark Richards.
Thank you very much, everybody. Also, if you've reached this part of the stream, you are undoubtedly the best of the best of the best of the best of the WrestleTalk viewers. You're loyal. And hey, we would love your help. We have a couple of positions open behind the scenes. Image researchers is the title of the role, and it's just where you help us source all the images we use for our videos. It's a paid role. You could earn money from this. It has flexible hours, providing you get the images to us by the times we need them. You can get the images whenever you like. So yes, if you are interested in working with us at WrestleTalk, email in an application with the subheading or the title Image Researchers to support@WrestleTalk.com.
You got paid? It's a Street Fighter reference.
But for now, everybody else can go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, become a pledgehammer over there. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.